Are we on? We live? How's our audio coming through? We're mic'd. Is this coming through okay? Are we live? All right, we on? All right, here we are. Okay. Okay, I can hear myself even. Well, welcome to our regularly scheduled Planning Commission meeting, Monday, September 19th. A different location than usual, a little different, but we're same event going on. We do have a quorum. We have all present tonight. And I do want to take a moment and welcome our new planning commissioners, Alderman Allmacher. Went away. It's an echo. All right, we have an echo. Is there any way we can fix that? Well, they'll be working on that in the back. We'll just keep going.
Conduct our meeting.
I'm sorry?
Just conduct our meeting.
And also welcome Alex. We have Alex also new on the board. Welcome to the Planning Commission. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to ask Bill Comer to lead us in the pledge.
And take the flag, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, the next item on the agenda is to read and approve the minutes from our August 15th meeting. You all were emailed that last Wednesday in your packet. If you haven't had a chance to look. Okay, you guys are working on this. We've got some feedback issues.
Mr. Chairman. Okay, can y'all hear me?
No.
Well, let's see if they work. Maybe a little bit. Okay, I plan on abstaining from the vote on the minutes due to the fact that I'm new to the board.
Okay.
Did it echo? All I said was I'm going to abstain from the vote on the minutes.
Guys, I think that
they're going to work on those issues, but we have got to get through a meeting here because we're on a tight timeline. We're not controlling the audio. We're not causing the echo. They're going to continue to work on it throughout the meeting back there. So if you will please just bear with us while we work these kinks out. This is the first time we have done this. So please show a little grace and let us continue our meeting.
I guess we might need to speak up a little bit for this meeting. Maybe see if that works. So everyone has received the minutes as of Wednesday via email. We have one abstention. I respect that, of course. Any comments on the meeting? If not, I'll call for a motion. A motion to approve and a second. Any comments? Okay. All in favor of approving the August 15th meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Okay, minutes pass. Thank you. Okay, reports from officers and staff. Ms. Samaniego, do you have anything for us? Okay. No old business. Moving on to new business. The first item of new business is a major subdivision plat, Tisha Estates. And this is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing for that. First, I would like to hear from the applicant. Is Mr. Denby available to speak to that? I believe so. Yeah. See if that one works.
Testing. All right. Hey, my name is Nicholas Northcutt. I'm with Northcutt Surveying, and I'll be representing Mr. Denby this evening.
Okay, tell us about your project.
Well, as y'all are familiar with, there is a vacant tract of land at the end of Stewart Street. And we had originally submitted a major division, but had since withdrawn it to make some revisions to it and whatnot. And anyway, so we're coming back in with a 30-lot division that complies with all the codes and yeah, we're just looking to get this through tonight.
Okay, so how many what is the total, how many home sites is this current plan?
30,
30, okay.
as per the fire code.
And you've held off on the southeastern portion?
Yes, sir, we removed 20 lots.
Okay, okay. Now, let's see, I know there's a lot of stormwater issues. I've heard from some citizens there's some stormwater issues, especially to the north side of this property. Have you addressed those in this preliminary plan?
Yes, the engineer, Kenny Sadler, has looked at this, and we have reserved detention areas set aside. Yeah, so all of the lots, with the exception of 2, are all out of the flood zone. And for those 2 that are there, he's going to be doing a Lomar F and having engineering done on that and having a map revision done.
Okay, okay. Any other questions for the applicant at this from staff report on this one, Mary, please? I'll go to public first. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, this is the time for any comments from the public on this proposed development of 30 home sites.
How you doing? My name is Mike Emanuel. I talked with Greggy today. I live on
Say your
219
last name again.
Emanuel.
Emmanuel.
Yeah, I live on Stewart Street, 219 Stewart Street, right basically across from where these are planning on being built. I have concerns about this because I know he's changed it from 54 to 30. However, there's 9 homes on Stewart Street. So that makes 39 homes having to go down one street to get out. And that is a big safety concern for me and my neighbors as far as trying to do that. It has a potential for about 230 vehicles going down that little small road a day. And this road is only about 8 foot wide, and it's not in real good shape, but there's a big concern there, okay? The areas going through are proposing on your maps that you have for showing it, if you look at lot 1, 2, and 29, every time we have a rainstorm, it looks like a flood going through there. Every time. And plus, his road is going to cross that same area. So that's a concern. And I also would like to say that Mr. Denby has a personal friend on the board, and Daniel Berry, and he needs to recluse himself from this vote. Thank you.
Chairman, if I may. I have it written down right here to, go ahead and read what I've got written here. Commissioner, I'm going to recuse myself from any vote and any discussion. There is a group of 10 residents who have falsely accused me of violating the Tennessee bribery laws, and which by default has accused Mr. Denby of bribing me, and until that has been kicked back, as it is false, I will recuse myself from any votes, including him. There are many people out here that I know and who I am friends with and who I have done business with, and if I recuse myself from all of those, as would any of us, then we would not be able to vote on anything. But until it is clear and there is a ruling that I have had no financial gains, I will recuse myself from this vote.
Mr. Chairman,
Alderman Berry.
I have a point of information for Mr. Emanuel there. Can you define your basis of estimate for that 230 vehicles per day?
About 3 cars per home. Some have 4, some have 5. But I just kind of took an average of 3 cars per home. And we have 30 on this plat, plus we have 9, so that's 39 homes right there. So if everybody has at least 3 cars, That's how you're looking at that as far as going in and out every day.
You're saying 3 trips per day.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Okay, thank you.
While we're on this topic, though, we'll have a question for Mary, Mary San Diego. He mentioned the 9 homes existing, adding 30. Does that 39, how's that fit in with the fire code requirement?
Mary San Diego, Planning Director. The 9 existing homes are existing, so those are already developed on an existing road network. The fire code for the number of homes is additional homes.
So it's not cumulative. Thank you.
Correct.
So that's
Understand. Another comment, please? Just state your name and address.
I'm Ginger Muse, and I live at 300 Stewart Street. I spoke at the last time the Tisha Estates came up, so I really don't want to spend a lot of time repeating myself. However, by looking at the new plat, it just looks like they've erased some of the homes. I want to know, is this phase 1 of a 2-phase project? And will he eventually? And 2, I want to know whatever happened to the second egress. Because we were told that he could not just have Stewart as an egress, he had to have a second egress. And I know for a fact that the land that he purchased went all the way to East Lincoln. He immediately built 2 homes and sold them, so he locked himself out of that egress. And we're just opposed completely. Thank you.
You're welcome. I guess to answer the question, I feel like Mr. Northcott, can you speak to that second? Mr. Northcott still here? Can you speak to that possible second egress coming out of that? I don't know, maybe you can't, maybe it's totally speculative, but if you could speak to that. There's clearly more room to develop homes, but you've reached the 30 max. So what are the possible ideas there?
Yeah, Nicholas Northcott Surveying. So to that point, the original subdivision had more lots. The reason that it was reduced to the 30 houses was to comply with the current fire code that says that unless you have that other point of egress, then he cannot get over 30 lots. So with Mr. Denby's property to the west being all in floodway, it was not really feasible to go that way with any kind of road. And then, of course, the railroad to the south kind of cuts us off there. So, that second point of egress is, something that we're still working on. But right now, as it stands, the 30 lots would comply with the fire codes for the egress that we have currently.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, y'all forgive my ignorance. So I will say that if we were looking at high-density residential and particular areas where they may be appropriate, I do think off of a main thoroughfare would be a more appropriate location. So my question is, for the second egress, are we doing this a little premature? Is there a way for Mr. Denby to apply, I guess whoever owns that easement through the railroad right there, to potentially create an entrance on 55?
Mr.
I'm sure
Chairman.
there's lots of highway issues, lots of railroad issues going on there.
Can we hold our discussion amongst the board until after the citizens?
Yeah, we can.
Thank you.
Well, just something I would like maybe to, if it's already been thought about, for it to be addressed. Thank you.
I think to sum up, well, Ms. San Diego, you have a comment?
Sorry, I'm going to respectfully request that you follow the rules and procedures and take all public comment first,
Okay.
and then get the staff report, and then answer the questions, because this case might be pending litigation. So we have
good
to make
comment.
sure the record's correct.
Good comment.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, we won't be answering. We'll answer at the end. Are there any other comments from the public?
Okay, if I just speak up loudly, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Tammy Luna. I live at 301 Stewart Street, and I've lived there for approximately 19 years. I have heard the words progress, growth, and development used ad nauseum in the past few months in regards to Tullahoma. Of course, everyone's definition of growth and progress is different depending on one's motivation for said growth and progress. Unfortunately, my definitions of progress and growth have garnered negative connotations. For me, progress and development have become synonymous for pollution. As more people are being drawn to Tullahoma, I have noticed the need to Highway 55. I have also noticed the ever-present roar of the road growing louder by the day and night. The Pepsi plant alone generates enough of its own noise pollution from beeping, bangs, and truck horns honking. With CFC's expansion in recent years, noise pollution has grown significantly to a daily drone of grinding metal sounds and heavy equipment usage, in addition to increased train noise pollution. Then there is the constant factor of car exhaust pollution, as Cobb Road continues to be a heavily traveled thoroughfare to CFC and to Highway 55 for commuters. Finally, I am boiling it all down to the nitty-gritty, which is the overall general litter generated from using Cobb Road as a cut-through. In recent years, I have made it my civic duty to collect the ever-accumulating trash along Cobb Road. I have personally collected such items as old tires, used condoms, used hypodermic needles, drug baggies, hundreds of cigarette butts, tons of fast food refuse, and lots of scrap metal bits and pieces that fall in transit to CFC. In closing, adding more people, cars, houses, traffic, and noise of construction, AKA progress and growth, to my neighborhood is a complete no-go for me, as is Mr. Denby's housing development at the end of Stewart Street. Please deny this request for this development. Thank you for hearing me.
Any other comments from the public?
My name is Trey Glenn. I don't know if y'all can hear me good. I live at 304 Stewart Street. Just wanted to voice my concern. One was the egress into the subdivision. Right now, we get all kinds of traffic on Cobb. People cutting through into Terra Estates, Colonial Acres, and there was already a whole lot of traffic on that road, and it can't hardly handle it. Adding many more homes, it's just going to destroy the street. Stewart Street can't handle it. There's no way. If something major happens and police and fire need to get in there, we have some kind of disaster, how are you going to get emergency vehicles in there if the road's closed or road's blocked? You can't. I mean, you got people's lives that could be in danger. So I just wanted to voice my concern, and we do have flood problems that's in behind my house when the heavy rains and stuff. So I don't know what all they have taken the precautions for, the drainage and all into the subdivision or out of the subdivision, but I know it's going to be a major concern. I just wanted to let you know that my vote for this is no, and I hope the board agrees with me.
Thank you, Mr. Glenn. Any other comments from the citizens?
My name is Gloria Gerard, and I live at 206 Cobb Road. My backyard backs up to where Mr. Denby is going to build. I know Mr. Denby personally, but my thing with it is, what are we going to do about the infrastructure? Like a lot of our houses are still on septic tank, okay? Are we going to be forced to now take on Tullahoma like they've done in other areas that I heard about, like on Rutledge Falls Road? They were forced to take in Tullahoma sewage. Okay, if there's a flood out in the backyard, like the other people have expressed, that sewage is going back up into my backyard. I live on 2.5 acres out there. I want Mr. Denby to keep on progressing and doing exactly what he needs to do, but have the infrastructure of this situation been looked at? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public?
Hi, I'm Beverly Harris. I live at 303 Stewart Street. My husband and I and my children love our neighborhood. We live on a dead-end street. The neighborhood is beautiful as is. We want it to stay that way. I am opposed to this development. We have noticed when the garbage truck comes, we pull out our driveway. There's only room on that street for the garbage truck only. There's no way that we can maintain high traffic on Stewart Street. The same way with the recycling truck, Tullahoma Utilities, the traffic has to come to a complete halt. Only the utility vehicle can drive down the street. So please, please hear our voices today. We're petitioning you to stop this development. Thank you.
Thank you.
Said that echo is coming from that mic, and he can move it.
Should we go and do it? Okay, he's going to do it. She's got to be standing over there. Speak. Pardon the intermission.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Thank you. It's okay. Hello, my name is Amelia Luna, and I'm a junior at Tullahoma High School. I've lived at 301 Stewart Street for all of my 16 years of my life. I personally think this development is only going to benefit the people who have created this plan. Oh, sorry. They weren't thinking about what's best for everyone who lives on and around Stewart Street. They were only thinking about what they could do and where's the most money that could be made. Every day before school, I turn onto Cobb Road. That intersection is very dangerous now. When turning left or even right onto Cobb Road from Stewart Street, you can't see the cars that are coming right. That intersection is an accident waiting to happen. Also, Cobb Road is now crumbling. What's that road going to look like when 50+ cars end with the thought of emergency vehicles coming and going on it? Another issue with this plan is the flooding that occurs when it rains. It doesn't even have to be that heavy of a rainfall for it to look like a river is flowing through it. With that considering, our road can't support this plan with so many safety issues. If you still decide to go through with this plan, this will only benefit the people who have created it. So please consider not putting up this development. Thank you.
We're still having a hard time hearing. It's even worse than it was before. We can get some audio support here.
Over here, if you will pull the mic and speak into the mic.
Yeah, get closer to the mic.
It will help.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
It won't stay up. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Isabella Luna. I am 19 years old and I live on 301 Stewart Street. When my family and I moved here about 18 years ago when I was a toddler, they did this with the intention that it was a safe and quiet place to raise their children. Over the years, we have developed an everlasting family-like bond with our neighbors and friends on Stewart Street. As a former Tullahoma High School student and current student at Motlow Community College, I tend to normally work night shifts and come home at all hours of the night. I barely feel safe now on our quiet dead-end street, much less 40 or more houses crammed onto the road with only one way in or out. As I have observed, many other bigger neighborhoods in Tullahoma, or even anywhere for that matter, have more than one way in or out of the neighborhood. I also would like to point out that this project will significantly lower our property values, put severe strain on our way of life, and most importantly, not be safe for anyone. These things alone should bring red flags, much less the people and environment it will bring along with it. Also, all of the existing houses on Stewart Street are brick, and the new houses will be vinyl. We also all have decent-sized yards, and the new houses will have little to no yard with them whatsoever. In conclusion, our once peaceful, spacious, and quiet life on Stewart Street will be transformed into a crammed nightmare with constant traffic and please save us all the grief and do not go forth with this project. Thank you.
Well spoken. Thank you for your comments.
Isabel Luna. I live on Stewart Street. Okay, thank you.
If you want to make comments, you might want to get closer to the microphone. We're tight on time.
My name is Brian Church, and I live at 302 Stewart. And I'll make it short and sweet. I'm opposed to it, along with my neighbors, for all the reasons they've already given. Thank you. I live at 501 Marbury Road. My stepson lives on Stewart Street, and he's working tonight. But anyway, so I'm very familiar with it. One of the reasons we're here tonight, especially for the second meeting coming up, is because we have developers that are not talking to the citizens. They're not coordinating with the citizens. And this wouldn't be a problem. There wouldn't be people talking about this right now. If Mr. Denby had talked to the people on that street, there's only 9 houses on that street, and come up with a way to have a second entrance into this. This whole thing about the farm and the Save Tullahoma and all that stuff has directly related to this. You're trying to tell a man that's got his own property what he can do with it and what he can't do with it. Well, some things have to be coordinated with the public. It's what Tullahoma needs, and that's the reason we're going to have this second meeting at 6 o'clock, because that has not happened at all. Second entrance would probably take care of most of the concerns, not all of them, but a great deal of the concerns. I think that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments from the public on this development? Okay. Oh. Another comment on this particular project? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, if you'll bear with me, I have very bad hearing. So can you hear me? My name is Tracy. I'm Tracy Luna. I live at 301 Stewart Street. I spoke at the July meeting with my opposition to this proposed development. The proposed plats, whether they're called phase 1, 2, or whatever, are not good, reasonable, or safe. For 60 years, Stewart Street has been a small paved but otherwise unimproved dead-end street, providing access to Cobb Road for less than a dozen homes. Now, according to the plats, Stewart Street is to magically become the sole thoroughfare for this development. This is extremely unreasonable and unsafe. It is unreasonable because There are no plans for addressing improvements to Stewart Street or widening the intersections of Stewart and Cobb. This part might have been skipped because this would be very costly, difficult, due to going to adjust the original intent of Stewart Street and Cobb Road for that matter. Now, the proposal is unsafe because Cobb Road is a main cut-through road between Highway 55 and East Lincoln. The intersection of Cobb Road and Stewart Street is small and dangerous with the dips and the shadows of Cobb Road. Drivers on Cobb Road are in transition. This, by definition, increases the odds of an accident. Just a couple of quick things here. I think the thing that I want to bring out is I believe when the original owners sold the land, I believe there was access off of East Lincoln at that time. I think there were two houses built, and now there's not. So in my mind, this is dead in the water. And so I ask you to propose this development tonight and lift the burden that's been on us since May, on and off and on and off and all this stuff and the back and forth. I ask you to deny this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
My name is Joe Denby, and I'm the developer. And I just want to make a few things clear that the road is not 8 foot wide, it's 18 foot wide. And all the flooding issues that are there now has been addressed by detention ponds being designed and everything for this development. The thing about where they're saying that I own property that I could have made a second entrance, that's not true, because there was a house there blocking to get to Lincoln Street, and I built on 2 lots that was directly behind that house, so there was not enough room to make a second entrance there. And if they can find anyone who would let me purchase land on Cobb Road to bring out a second entrance, I would be glad to do that. I have no problem with that. And also, for the emergency vehicles that are going down this road, all I'm doing is providing them a better turnaround. As of now, they don't have a turnaround. So if I had roads back there with a cul-de-sac, they could be able to turn around easier. And then also, I've owned this property for 2.5 years and I haven't done nothing with it. And it's also had been set up for future development when whoever developed their homes, because there's manholes and everything else back there on that property at the end of the road for future development of that property. And then that my plans are to put restrictions on it to build 1,200 square foot houses with 2-car garages. I know there's been some issues about people saying that I'm going to build little bitty houses back there, but you can't afford to develop something like this and build really little houses on it. So they're going to be all 1,200 square foot minimum with the 2-car garage, which is compatible to what's out there now. There's 1,400 square foot houses with 1-car garages. And I'm not trying to cause any problem with any of the neighbors, but you had to know when there's 25 acres behind you that sooner or later it might be subject to get developed. And I would like to see us go forward with this plan. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. If you have another comment, actually, I think you've taken your 3 minutes, Mr. Emmanuel. We're really on a tight schedule. We have got to get done by 6, or we're in all kinds of trouble. So we got to appreciate your comments. But any other comments on this project? Okay, seeing none, staff report, please, Mary. Oh, fine. It's behind us, guys.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay, can we go,
You're coming through.
production, can we go to my presentation, please? It should be up on the computer. Mary Samaniego for the record. This property is currently zoned R1, low-density residential, which has a 12,000 square foot minimum lot size standard. The applicant was originally proposing 52 lots, but because of the secondary access issue that they could not resolve, they have reduced their proposal down to 30 lots as shown on the plat before you. All of the Development Advisory Committee members have reviewed this plan, which includes the Public Works Department, City Engineering, Economic Development, Parks and Rec, the Fire Department, City Administration, the Building Official, ERPUD, Tullahoma Water, Sewer, and Electric, the Planning Department, and the Planning Department. Based on the proposal, the applicant is meeting all of the minimum standards of your subdivision control ordinance. The connectivity index is met because they do have a sub to the southeast, or southwest rather. The minimum connectivity index is 1.4, they're at a 1.6. The only thing that I would add at this point, again, to make it clear to the Planning Commission, the plan as proposed does meet the minimum standards of your subdivision regulations. However, I had met with the applicant and have proposed some recommended changes to the plan based on my professional expertise. That's found on page 5 of your packet. If you can see lot 29 on the screen, the drainage area in the floodplain is included in the lot area of lot 29. So therefore, that would mean that property owner is responsible for the maintenance of that drainage area. Similarly, lots 19 and 20, I'm gonna walk over there and point and come right back.
20 or floodplain. 1920? Yeah.
Lots 19 and 20 have a significant portion of their property in the floodplain. That curved line that you can see that goes all the way up to the front setback is floodplain. And then lot 19 has, within that individual property owner's property, the rest of the floodplain and another set of detention easements. So my professional recommendation are twofold. One, that the two drainage area and floodplain areas be put in common area open space, and that a homeowners association is established to maintain those areas. So instead of that individual property owner having the financial burden of maintaining the entire drainage easement, which is a piece of infrastructure for that subdivision, everybody that buys a lot in that subdivision would have to pay their fair share to maintain the drainage easement through a professional organization that would keep up on the maintenance. What I've professionally observed in Tullahoma is that when drainage features are in individual property owners, that gives a hardship almost to that property owners, and those drainage features aren't being maintained as pieces of infrastructure that they really need to be, and that could contribute to some of the drainage issues. My second recommendation was that lots 19 and 20 actually be absorbed into the two adjoining lots. So 20 would go away and that land area would be absorbed into lot 21. And then lot 19 would be dissolved and that land area would be absorbed into lot 18. So therefore, all of the buildable areas within each of the lots is completely out of the floodplain. And then to try to capture the loss of the two lots, an additional lot could be added to the south of lot 10. So those are my professional recommendations. There are also some minor changes and recommendations made by the city engineer. Unfortunately, he had to leave, but those are found on page 4 of your staff report. And then as far as utilities, Tullahoma Water and Sewer said easements will be needed for the water and sewer lines to be located for the property. So this property will be served by city water and sewer. Do you have any questions for me at this time?
Any questions for Mary on her presentation?
Yes, sir.
I didn't fully understand what you said relationship to Lot 10. Could you repeat that?
Lot 10, if you can look in your packet, because I'm recommending losing 2 lots to get those areas out of the floodplain. If you look at Lot 10 in your packet, there's developable area that they could create an additional lot there. So instead of 30 lots reducing down to 28, they could still get 29. So they would add additional lot to the south of 10.
What I was concerned about was a possible place for another exit to the property, to Cobb. Is there any way that could create a second exit?
I believe the applicant can certainly speak to this. I believe the applicant has tried to work with the Bottling Group LLC to get a secondary entrance and exit. They were not able to do so. That's part of the reason why this case has been continued so long. The developer and the applicant has continued to try to find a secondary access, but at this point, they're unable to secure one. So they're moving forward with the maximum they could get based on the current fire code of 30 lots for this development.
I'm sorry, but I'm having a really hard time understanding.
I'm sorry.
Has the...
They weren't able to reach an agreement with Pepsi to get a secondary access.
Oh, that was my question. They
Correct.
did
They weren't
talk to
able to
Pepsi.
reach an agreement with them, so they're going to continue to try to find an agreement or an adjoining property owner to either get to Lincoln or Cobb at a future date, but they weren't able to get it in time for this case to move
Okay, so this change you're talking about to Lot 10 would enable that to work?
No, that, it has no bearing on the secondary exit.
Okay. Well, could you quote what the subdivision regulations say about the second egress?
What subdivision regulations say about
Second exit.
that? There is no subdivision regulation that says you have to have more than one entrance or exit. It's a fire code regulation. So the fire code says if you have a new subdivision going in that is between 1 and 30 lots, you can have one point of ingress and egress. If it's over 30 lots, it's like 31 lots to some other number I can't quote right now, you have to have 2, or the houses have to be fire sprinkled. So the applicant has chosen not to fire sprinkle the house and exceed the 30 minimum. So the secondary ingress and egress is coming from the fire code, not the subdivision regulations. Your subdivision regulations
Okay,
don't
these
dictate.
existing 9 houses that are along Stewart don't count as part
No,
of
they
it?
don't. They don't go into that formula for the fire code.
Any other questions for Ms. Samaniego? I need to close the public hearing. Any questions or comments from the commission on this proposed development? I have a question for Scott St. John. Is he still here? I think he's left already. Okay. There seem to be lots of stormwater issues, especially on the north side of this property, but I'm presuming that that's been reviewed and managed well with any development. And I think development could actually improve the problem that's out there now by moving the stormwater to the right spot. But
May I?
yes.
So first of all, I'm going to do this right. In full disclosure, Mr. Denby did donate a small amount to my campaign 2 years ago, but I do not have any current financial relationships with Mr. Denby. And as long as that disclosure has taken place, I believe that it is still appropriate for me to vote and to comment. While I think that that site is prime for development, I'm not sure that it's one that we need to push the boundaries with. And it seems as though, you can have 1 to 30 is what I'm hearing with one exit, and we're wanting to go all the way to 30. And remember, plans, while we think we understand the impact there may be unintended consequences. And unfortunately, the bearer of any negativity of those unintended consequences would be those 9 houses there on Stewart Lane. I could not in good conscience vote for this plan without having some sort of secondary egress, and in which case I would be a supporter.
Any other comments from our commission? Yeah, I will echo some thoughts that Alderman Almacher shared. It would be nice to see the 2 access points in a final plan before it moved forward. It seems like it's half done, and there's no promise that there would ever be a second access point. I mean, they'd have to work at that to try to make that happen.
May I, one more comment? I do believe that if the lot sizes were changed and there wasn't as many houses going in with one egress, if we weren't trying to hit the max, I would also be a supporter of this. I'm very concerned about the safety aspect and about the stormwater drainage, but also I will say that developing this may actually do wonders for the stormwater drainage, but I'm not sure that developing it at max capacity would do that.
Lot size is per our ordinance. You know, it's R1. Mr. Denby's, the plan follows all the rules. So we're in that's the reality of this project. But the 2 access points is sticky. Are there any other questions or comments from our commission? And I'll call for a motion. Okay, project.
I make a motion to postpone to allow Mr. Denby a little more time to try to find an area of compromise for.
We call for a motion to either move forward or to not. There's really not an alternate motion on the table. If there's no motion to proceed the project, then it's the project just stops. That's how we run our.
So may I ask if the project stops as is, so he could make changes and then bring those changes back?
Certainly.
Okay, that's what I need to know.
Okay, the project fails for lack of a motion. Moving on. Our next item of new business is the Perry minor subdivision. A plan to create 3 lots from existing 5 acres. Is Mr. Stephen Perry here to speak to this project? That project did not move forward. It did not receive a motion to approve that that major subdivision. Yeah, sorry about the auto situation. We're in the middle of it. So if Mr. Perry, he couldn't get here last time either. Is Mr. Stephen Perry in the room? Oh, Mr. Northcott, are you speaking for Mr. Perry? Okay. Yeah, it sure is. Okay, please tell us about your project.
Hey, Nicholas Northcutt Surveying. I'm representing Mr. Perry on this. And essentially, he is just going to divide his property and cut 3 lots off on Grosh, or I guess it's David Allen Drive.
Okay. This is off of David Allen Drive and Grosh Street. Are there open a public hearing on this? Are there any public comments on this proposed minor subdivision? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Mary, staff report, please.
Thank you, Mary Samaniego. Thank you, production. This is a 5-acre piece. The property is currently zoned R1, which has a 12,000 square foot minimum lot size. All of the lots are well over 1 acre. They are proposed to be on septic fields. They do have their septic fields approved preliminarily for location by TDEC. It meets all of the regulations of the subdivision control ordinance. And then there are just some minor corrections that need to be made to the plat when and if this is approved. Just adding some language about drainage easements and clarifying some of the signature certificates. So saying that, staff recommends approval of this minor subdivision.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Any questions or comments from the commission on this proposed minor subdivision?
We need a motion. Motion to approve as recommended.
Have a motion to approve with staff comments and a second. Any questions or comments on this minor subdivision plan? Please.
Mary, I guess my immediate question is, we have 10.8 acres behind here that goes to nothing. Are we going to set ourselves up for another of the previous? Okay. I was just wondering. There's 10 acres behind there. Is there egress to that? So when he decides to develop that 10.8 acres, we don't end up in the same situation that we were just in with the other public forum.
Mary Samaniego, for the record. Yes, there is an additional existing right-of-way that goes along the western boundary of that entire piece that accesses the 10 acres.
Can we show that on the plat?
It's off-site.
Okay.
It's a gravel road right now. Any other questions or comments from the commission? Call for a motion?
We already did.
We got a first and a second. Call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. Okay, passes unanimously. Good luck with your development out there. 3 new homes. Okay, next on the agenda is another minor subdivision, 264 Lakeview. Is Mr. Harmon Campbell here to speak to that project? Mr. Campbell.
Next.
No, okay. Okay, we'll keep going with the hearing. Okay, are there any public comments? Open our public comment period. Any public comments on this minor subdivision, the Abbott subdivision? I'm sorry, the Lakeview subdivision. Okay, seeing none. Staff report, please, Mary.
This property, actually, there's a typo in your staff report. Oh, that was my own echo, sorry. There's a typo. It should be 265, not 264. That's my own error. There is no 264, so there's no confusion about the property. There's almost 19 and a half acres here. The property owner is just wanting to split off 4.02 acres with his house and sell the remaining 15 acres. It's way north in the Coffee County urban growth boundary. It's been reviewed by the Development Advisory Committee staff of the city, as well as the staff of the Planning and Building Department of Coffee County. There are no objections from any departments. Staff recommends approval with some minor changes to the plat prior to signatures. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mary.
Your professional expertise.
I would call.
Sorry, do you have a public comment? We've already passed the public comment period on this project. Thank you. Oh, you're just saying you can't hear?
Can you scoot up? Come forward.
can you hear me now? Planning Commission, can you hear me now, though? Okay. Thank you. So basically, what I just said is they're creating a 4-acre lot with an existing house out of the 19 acres, and the 15 acres will remain undeveloped.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Sorry about the confusion there. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments from the commission? Seeing no questions or comments, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, fourth item on the agenda is the Abbott minor subdivision. Plan to create 3 lots from an existing 2.54 acres at 502 Primrose Avenue. Is Mr. Abbott here to speak to it? Come on up. Okay, tell us about your project.
My name's Bob Abbott. I own the property, 2.54 acres at Primrose Avenue. Want to subdivide it into 3 additional lots. It has an existing home on one of the lots. I was wanting to divide it into 3.
Any comments from the public? Open the public hearing. Any comments from the public on this minor subdivision? Seeing none, staff report, please, Mary.
Mary Samaniego, Planning Director. Again, as the applicant said, this is 2.54 acres with an existing house. He's wanting to create 3 lots out of the 1. Each of the lots exceed the minimum lot size of the 12,000 square foot in the R1 district. The lot with the house will be over an acre. Then the lot 2 will be 0.61 acres, and lot 3 will be on 0.86 acres. This is an area of town that's completely surrounded by similarly sized lots and developments. The Development Advisory Committee staff has reviewed it and has no comments on this, so staff is recommending approval.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Approved, Mr. Alderman Berry. Second, Mr. Schwera. Any questions or comments on this minor subdivision? Seeing none, call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Good luck with your project. That's a great location for 2 more homes. All right. We're into item 7B in our agenda is a zoning map amendment. And this is a public hearing. This amendment request. Mary, should we start with your comments on that? Just go straight to public hearing? Okay, are there any public comments on this zoning map amendment at this time? This is a request to rezone the property at 200 block of Jean Drive from the Agricultural Zoning District A in Franklin County, UGB, to low density residential R1, Franklin County. The applicant is Mr. Thomas Whiteley. Mr. Whiteley? Or Mr. Northcott?
Welcome to this Monday edition of Tullahoma 6 News in HD. I'm Kelly Lepchinsky. Coming up, we'll tell you about another busy week for area law enforcement.
And I'm Chris Barstad. Today we'll also tell you about the busy weeks ahead for Tullahoma baseball fields.
First on 6, Estill Springs police are asking for help to identify a suspect in an armed robbery. The person you see here entered an unnamed store just after 10:30 on Saturday night. If you have any information that could lead to an arrest or saw anything suspicious in that area this weekend, contact Franklin County Dispatch at 967-2331. A reward is being offered for information that leads to an arrest.
The sign marking the location of Unity Medical Center in Manchester was destroyed during a violent crash on Thursday morning. According to Manchester police, the male driver of a King Cab pickup that was hauling a 20-foot utility trailer went off the road around 4:30 Thursday morning and traveled through a deep ditch before colliding with the sign in front of the medical center. The brick sign suffered heavy damage and the truck was a total loss, but the driver, a young man in his mid-20s, refused medical treatment, saying he was not injured in the crash. The reporting officer says alcohol was not detected at the scene. No charges were filed, so the young man has not been identified.
Now, in the Tullahoma Area Chamber of Commerce brought back its Taste of Tullahoma Business Expo earlier this month. We spoke to a lot of the businesses who were in attendance there, but there were also large industrial fans blowing through the armory to cool off, which made audio recording difficult. So today we're going to finish off our coverage with a few of the vendors who set up outdoors away from the fans.
We are a volunteer-run, 24/7 crisis and referral hotline. We serve all of Tennessee. All our services are for free, and we're based here in Tullahoma. I can't tell you the location because that's only for secret squirrels with the right password, but we are always here to help when you need somebody to talk to or need to find some help.
I'm Jody George. I'm Raina Bowling. And we're with Bowman On Target Marketing. We are the home to 3 radio stations, the Rooster 105, 93.9 The Duck, and Whiskey Country Radio. We service 9 counties, and we're based in Tullahoma.
We respond to all kinds of different losses, but water damage, fire damage, mold damage, it's a wide array, but when you're in trouble, it could be something as small as a toilet supply line, or your ceiling fell in and your whole house is flooded, but we are there. We'll come in, help clean you up, get you back to the way it was pre-loss.
We promote waste reduction and recycling for a multi-county area, which includes Tullahoma. And we give out backyard composters and recycling bins for those that would like to participate. And we encourage people to properly dispose of the things that can be recycled. To not put it in the trash can and put it in the recycling bin for the city to come and pick up. Things like your paper and your cardboard and your medicine jugs. Because these things can be made into new products. Your plastic bottles can be made into t-shirts like the one I'm wearing. It's made from 50% recycled plastic bottles and 50% recycled cotton from factory scraps. So it's 100% recycled. And when you go and buy t-shirts for your ball team, you can ask for the recycled content.
Watch Tullahoma Wildcat football live on LightTube. You can listen to the broadcast live at the stadium on 87.9 FM. The voices of Wildcat football, Scott Chastain and Ken Keller, can only be found on the LightTube Sports Network. The Tullahoma Wildcat Stadium broadcast will be available at all home and away games. For live action every week, tune into the LightTube Sports Network, Channel 23 and 87.9 FM for the Tullahoma Wildcat Stadium broadcast. Tullahoma Utilities Authority now has a branch at 501 West Lincoln Street. The drive-through only branch located in the old Citizens Tri-County Bank will be open on utility and light.
Proposed rezoning.
How y'all doing? I'm Rick Crowder. I live at 414 Gene Drive. I bought my house a few years ago, and nice, quiet little area. I don't know if you guys ever been out there, but as it was said earlier with the property that was mentioned in the beginning of the meetings here, there's only one way in and one way out, and I don't really know how many houses are back in the subdivision that's back in behind me, but throwing another 9 in there up in front of me, there's going to be a lot more vehicles coming in and out. And we've got a lot of families use that road for exercise, morning jogs, evening jogs. We've got kids walking up and down the road carrying fishing poles, going back and forth to the ponds. And I just feel that, yeah, bringing in, more people to come move on in, just plow down trees and start building. So, I mean, I myself, I object to it. I don't think that it's right for this land to be sandwiched in between all these other properties that are bound to 5-acre tracts with 2,000 square foot houses or more. I mean, this property is right sandwiched in between all that. I mean, for it not to go along with the same kind of rules and regulations, I don't know what the zoning is on that, but I just think it'd be an eyesore myself. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Hello. My name is Joe Merrill, Merrill. I live at 308 Deer Creek Lane. I just want to let you guys know that this is kind of smoke and mirrors. This is the same proposal that came up last time. They took Deer Creek Lane off. Mr. Whitley, I don't know if he's even here today, but he came to my house the day after the July meeting when this was denied. What he told me then was that he knew he could not build on Deer Creek Lane because it's an unfinished road. So having Deer Creek property on there the first time, he knew he couldn't build on it. This was always about Gene Drive. In fact, he's even offered to sell me the Deer Creek property. He owns Deer Creek Lane, so to finish that road and get permission to even build one house on Deer Creek, it's going to cost him, he said, about $85,000, $90,000 to pave it to Radio Beam Road. So again, this is smoke and mirrors. This is the same exact thing that you guys denied in July. He's just taken that part off the map, but he knew then he couldn't build on it. If Mr. Whitley's here,
Please don't elicit a response from the audience.
Okay. Well, in any case, that's what happened. This is the same exact plan that you guys denied in July. He never had any intentions of building on Deer Creek. It was always on Gene Drive.
Understood.
And like I said, my wife and I, we moved out here from Arizona. I spent 25 years in law enforcement. My wife spent 13 years until she was medically retired. We wanted someplace to get away from the city. Tucson has almost 850,000 residents. We worked undercover there. I flew helicopters there for 11 years. I worked in SWAT, First Home Invasion Unit. We worked against cartels, the Sinaloa cartels down there that had put $50,000 bounties on our drug sniffing dogs. We came here because this was, I told you in July, this is our piece of heaven, our way of getting away from that type of atmosphere. And we love it here. We love the peace and serenity that we have on our property. And none of us, our neighbors down here, John's down here, Paul, Pat, David, Derek, Rick just spoke to you. We don't want to wake up to a 9-house, 1-story apartment complex next to us. If I wanted to live in Murfreesboro, I would have moved to Murfreesboro. But I moved here. I hope you deny this, because the problems you foster today fester tomorrow. That's all I got to say.
Thank you for your comments. Any other comments on this proposed development? Or proposed zoning change, rather?
Can you hear me? My name is Derek Burton. I live at 196 Gene Drive. I have 15 acres out there. I also own property at 140 Gene Drive. I've been out there for almost 34 years. So I've seen a lot of changes with the extra subdivision going on. But I want to make a comment, say I appreciate letting us voice our opinion. 2019, Franklin County didn't give us that option. We got 8 chicken houses quarter mile down the road from us now. So we'll deal with that. But I just ask you to just deny his request. We got good neighbors. We all stand for each other, and I appreciate it.
All right, thank you for your comments. Any other comments on this proposed zoning change? Seeing none, staff report, please, Mary.
Okay, Mary Samaniego, can you hear me, audience? Thank you. Again, this application, a similar application to this was heard by you several months ago and was denied unanimously by this board. The applicant came to me and suggested just trying to rezone the southern piece, which is the case you have before you tonight, to 8.23 acres from agricultural to R1. Because this is in the Franklin County urban growth boundary area, you have to go by the Franklin County zoning code. I provided for you, and on page 27 of your staff report packet, the different criteria between the two zoning districts. I know that you've heard a lot of testimony tonight regarding a 5-acre minimum lot size. That might be a covenant or restriction that's part of deeds. However, the zoning district for the existing agricultural zone, the minimum lot size is a little under 22,000 square feet per lot. And then the R1 zoning district, the minimum lot size is 20,000 square feet per lot. Just so you have that information, what the difference between the two zoning districts are. Also, one clarification for the record on page 27, the side yard setback for the proposed R1 zoning district is 15 feet, not 10. As far as guidance for your decision tonight, unfortunately, Franklin County doesn't have a comprehensive plan or a land use plan. So there isn't a consistency review that you would do based on a plan for this area. If you looked, production, if you can go back to my presentation, please. My analysis was based on the development of the surrounding area. You can see to the south east of this property where it actually touches it, that is Hunters Creek subdivision that has 44 lots that have been developed under the R1 zoning district. So that kind of establishes a character of a relatively large R1 subdivision in the surrounding area. So that was what I based my analysis on, saying that staff is recommending a favorable recommendation for this rezoning to the Franklin County Board of Commissioners. Thank you. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions for Mary? I'm sorry.
Since I was not a member of the board, there was an allusion to the property that touches Deer Creek Lane. So it was my understanding that that was voted negatively. What was the deal there?
When the initial application came several months ago to this planning commission, include both pieces. And he wanted the entire property to be rezoned to R1. There was a lot of public opposition to it, and this planning commission ultimately denied it. The concept plans that the property owner had showed me did include lots that went up to Deer Creek Lane. However, they did not connect to Deer Creek Lane. What one of the previous neighbors stated is true. Deer Creek Lane is owned by Mr. Whitley, the applicant. It is a private road. The county has stated that if any additional lots are created to be served by Deer Creek Lane, the owner of Deer Creek Lane has to bring it up to county standards. So that is why Mr. Whitley is hesitant to connect and create additional lots serving Deer Creek Lane because it's already a substandard road. Regardless, tonight's application is just for the 8.23 acres to be rezoned, again, from agricultural to R1.
So one other question. Y'all, I'm learning. So if we were to approve this, it has to go by Franklin County's rules.
Yes.
Not Tullahoma
Yes, it-
particularly.
Yes, it's in the Franklin County urban growth boundary area. So per our growth plan and our agreement with Franklin County, this planning commission administers subdivisions and rezonings based on Franklin County's codes. And then any rezoning, it goes through this planning commission, but then ultimately goes to the Franklin County Board of Commissioners.
Does Franklin County have any type of fire codes or anything that would require 2 egresses from high density?
This is just a rezoning application, so we don't have a subdivision plat before us yet. That's something that we would review when that time came.
Okay, so we don't know for sure that they're going to put 9 houses on 8 acres.
I don't have an application before me now.
Okay, thank you very
So
much.
at this point, we're just looking at the rezoning, and for the planning commission, you want to kind of anticipate the worst case scenario,
Okay, thank you.
or the highest and best use, I'd rather say. Not worst case scenario, the highest and best use.
Okay, thank you, Mary. To move forward, I need a motion.
I'll second.
As recommended.
We have a motion to approve and a second to send this to, as a favorable recommendation to the Franklin County Board of Commissioners. Any discussion?
I'll discuss. Sorry. The reason I gave this a favorable recommendation is we don't know the intent of the property owner yet. And though I would not be in favor of what the concerns were, I am in favor of property owners being able to clear off their land and make plans for their land. So, you know, if you don't want that, make them an offer and try to buy it.
I should have probably asked you this question during the questions, but what are the neighbors on Jean Drive zoned? Not the Greenbrier Drive, but what is the zoning on the other, like, Jean Drive? And they can have. Okay, I was looking at the permissible uses in the agricultural zoning. Okay, I see now. Okay.
It would just be single-family lots. I'm sorry, sir?
I said yes. I didn't see initially the resident. There's you can have residential and agricultural here. I didn't see that in the initial existing or applicable uses. Okay. I'm gonna go on the same motion basically that we had the from a couple months ago. The same people spoke. I have the minutes here. That's what I passed off to Ms. Almacher. We need to. I'm under the impression that we need to just keep subdivisions, higher density lot stuff in the city for city use. Let the rural be rural. It's better for the environment, better for the land use. Just let's have planned developments where we need to be. So I'm opposed to this.
My understanding is this meets all Franklin County's requirements. Sorry. Yeah, I would.
Mary Samaniego, Franklin County doesn't have a plan to go by. So as far as the standards, yes, it meets the minimum standards of the R1 zoning district. It meets the existing minimum lot size of 20,000 square feet, and the minimum lot width is really all there is to go by at this point.
So and I'm going to echo Alderman Almacher here. It meets the requirements. It's his property. We're not looking right now at what's going at the plats, the subdivision lots, that'll come at a later date. If they come and they say, we're going to put 9 homes here, at that time, we can discuss. It's a multi-phased thing, and I don't want to cut this guy off before he even has a chance to present anything to us. That seems kind of unfair. I did hear one of the public comments say somebody had offered to sell him that land, and I'm going to echo that. And if you want to dictate what goes on a piece of property, then you need to own it.
Any other comments from the commission? I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of sending this as a favorable recommendation to the Franklin County Board of Commissioners, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, say nay. 1 nay, 6-1. Okay. We are